Our top stories for tonight. His Majesty the Supreme Commander honors the Royal Medical Services for its services to the country. Jordan and the European Union co-chair the second forum of the Union for the Mediterranean in Barcelona, Spain. And Syria's warring sides meet for peace talks in Kazakhstan amid low expectations for a breakthrough. Good evening and welcome to the news at 10. His Majesty the King, the Supreme Commander of the Jordan Armed Forces Arab Army, bestowed the highest military honor upon the Royal Medical Services, which were established in 1941. In a ceremony attended by royal family members and top civic and military officials, King Abdullah presented the Supreme Commander's flag to the Royal Medical Services in recognition of its efforts and services to the country. Arriving for the ceremony, the King was welcomed by a 21-gun salute. He also inspected a medical exhibition that reflected the advanced level the Royal Medical Services has reached. The exhibition included a 50-bed mobile field hospital with an emergency ward, operations theaters, an ICU unit, clinics, and labs with modern military equipment. The handing over of the banner is a recognition of the bravery and sacrifices of Army units and their role in defending the country. In remarks during the ceremony, the Director of the Royal Medical Services voiced pride in its personnel and pledged that it will continue to provide the best medical services to the people. An anti-narcotics department officer was killed during a raid to arrest a wanted man in the city of Zarqa. A public security department statement said the suspect began shooting from a weapon in his possession during the raid in a Zarqa neighborhood. It said Sergeant Muhammad al-Saqrat was shot and later died of his wounds. The statement said the wanted man fled the scene and a search was underway to apprehend him as an investigation into the incident began. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Lieutenant General Mahmoud Frihat, took part in a meeting of Gulf Cooperation Council GCC countries' Chiefs of Staff. The meeting in the United Arab Emirates was also attended by Egyptian and U.S. representatives. The meeting dealt with issues aimed at boosting military cooperation and coordination to fight terrorism and agree on measures to serve regional and global security. Minister of Foreign and Expatriates Affairs Ayman al-Safadi and European Union Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini co-chaired the second forum of the Union for the Mediterranean in Barcelona, Spain. The two-day forum held this year under the theme Mediterranean in Action, Youth for Stability and Development brought together 43 delegations from member countries. The meeting centers around youth's potential as a driving force for stability and development and discusses perspectives for strengthening cooperation between main stakeholders towards a better future for the Euro-Mediterranean region. The participants agreed on a roadmap to promote regional cooperation in the Mediterranean region. In his opening remarks, Safadi spoke of Jordan's efforts to support regional and global security and stability and the kingdom's role in fighting terrorism. He also pointed to the burdens imposed on the kingdom by large numbers of Syrian refugees. Safadi told a press conference that Jordan looks forward to working with the new U.S. administration to address common challenges and regional crises.
Jordan and the United States have traditionally, historically enjoyed very strong and friendly relations. We definitely value that relationship. And we are looking forward to working with the new U.S. administration on addressing the common challenges and serving the common interests that we have. Certainly of these, there's enough. We all face the challenge of terrorism. We all face the challenge of conflict resolution. We have the interest of promoting democracy, promoting stability, promoting prosperity. So we will be looking forward to working with the U.S. administration on that. And as friends and as allies, we will definitely do what friends expect from friends, which is to speak very openly and very truthfully, on what we feel should be done in order to further our common interest of peace and stability and conflict resolution in the region.
Interior Minister Ghalib al-Zu'bi met with advisor to the Qatari Interior Minister, Major General Abdullah Yusuf al-Mal, and his accompanying delegation. The minister referred to the close cooperation between Jordan and Qatar, which helped to forge shared visions and positions towards local and regional challenges. He said Amman and Doha have signed many agreements and memorandums of understandings over the years in a number of sectors. The Qatari officials said the Gulf Arab state is keenly interested to continue enhancing ties with Jordan in the political, economic, cultural and security fields. Syria's warring sides met for peace talks in Kazakhstan amid low expectations for a breakthrough. Delegations said the negotiations sponsored by Russia, Turkey and Iran focused on Syria's fragile ceasefire. Fundamental divisions persist between Russia and Turkey on whether Syrian President Bashar al-Assad should stay in power or step down as the rebels demand. Meantime, fighting continued in several locations in Syria. Here's more.
The first Syrian peace talks in 9 months got underway in a bid to end the country's 6-year civil war. Syrian government and opposition delegations sat down for the talks in the Kazakhstan capital Astana, sponsored by Russia, Turkey and Iran. Kazakhstan Foreign Minister Khairan Abdurrahmanov opened the talks.
Today's meeting is a clear manifestation of the international community's efforts directed to peaceful settlement of the situation in Syria. Kazakhstan believes that the only way to find a solution to the Syrian crisis is through negotiations based on mutual trust and understanding.
But delegates were downbeat about prospects of a significant breakthrough. Both delegations said that the focus was on the country's ceasefire, a fragile precursor to a wider political solution. Bashar al-Jafari, the head of the government delegation, said his team came to Kazakhstan to succeed and will not be a part of any maneuver that might jeopardize the talks.
We came to Astana to succeed, and I said in Arabic before a couple minutes ago that we will not be part of any maneuver aiming at torpedoing the meeting of Astana.
A rebel source said opposition representatives plan to negotiate with the government side only via intermediaries. Mohammed Aloush, the head of the opposition team, told delegates he wanted a consolidation of the shaky ceasefire and a freeze on military operations. He insisted Iran-backed militias leave Syria. Some observers said the talks, which UN Special Envoy for Syria, Staffan de Mistura, is attending, could help jumpstart UN-led negotiations that were suspended in late April. The opposition has made it clear it will continue the fight if the Astana peace talks failed. Warplanes bombed rebel-held areas of western Syria, killing 12 people in one location. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights also said rebel shelling of Aleppo killed 6 people. Fighting was also reported in Homs and near Damascus. Videos uploaded by the Syrian army to its website showed government troops clashing with rebels in Wadi Barada Valley near Damascus and with Daesh terror group in Deir ez-Zor in East Syria. Rana Hassan for the news at 10.
Iraqi forces have captured all of eastern Mosul, dislodging Daesh terrorists from the last pocket they held east of the Tigris River. The Defense Ministry issued a statement that the eastern part of the city was successfully liberated after inflicting heavy losses in lives and equipment to terrorists. A military spokesman said mopping up operations were underway to clear a remaining pocket inside Rashidiyya, a northeastern suburb of Mosul. Iraqi forces launched a US-backed campaign in October to retake Mosul from Daesh, which captured the city in 2014. Israeli Prime Minister Binyamin Netanyahu has lifted restrictions on settlement building in occupied East Jerusalem immediately. The city's municipal government approved permits for the building of hundreds of new homes in the area. Netanyahu also told senior ministers he intends to allow home building in the occupied West Bank. He went on to say that there is no longer a need to coordinate construction in the Jewish settlements in East Jerusalem and that they can build where they want. and that they can build where they want and as much as they want. The Palestinian Authority denounced the move, which is seen as another obstacle towards the resumption of Palestinian-Israeli peace talks. U.S. President Donald Trump invited Netanyahu to visit Washington early next month during a phone call in which they discussed the importance of strengthening the U.S.-Israeli relations. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order formally withdrawing the United States from the 12-nation Trans-Pacific Partnership TPP trade deal. Without Washington's participation, the TPP would have to be renegotiated or scrapped altogether. The largest global trade agreement in 20 years, the TPP was championed by former President Barack Obama as a way to open Asian markets for American goods and create a trade bloc to counter China. Opposition to the TPP was one of the key planks of Trump's presidential campaign. The president has called the trade pact a potential disaster for the U.S. He said he would prefer bilateral trade deals with the individual TPP countries instead.
Except for the military.
Next is the policy in regard to Mexico City.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin see eye to eye when it comes to many foreign policy goals. Lavrov said Trump is clearly pursuing the United States' vital interests rather than attempting to interfere in other countries' business. Russia does the same, he said. For Germany, though, Trump's domestic and foreign policy remains unclear, even after the inaugural speech. Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier added that clashes on the streets and the demonstrations for and against the new administration indicate that a lot of work is still needed for the U.S. to be united behind the president. France, represented by its conservative frontrunner in this year's presidential elections, François Fillon, told German Chancellor Angela Merkel that a very strong Franco-German alliance was essential to secure the future of Europe, as Europe is still in crisis, as is threatened by U.S. politics, Russia and China. He said it needs to find a new pragmatic project again based on intergovernmental basis. China, meanwhile, expressed its desire to work together with a new U.S. administration to push forward bilateral relations along a healthy and stable path. But it said the U.S. must fully understand the importance of the One China policy and appreciate the issue of Taiwan is highly sensitive for the Beijing government. Back here at home, Her Majesty Queen Rania checked on the progress of a number of small income-generating projects during a visit to the Hashemiyya in Azar'a. She visited the Hashemiyya Women's Society for Social Development, which is financed by a royal court grant that attends to 286 families in Zarqa and Mafra. Queen Rania also visited an Injaz workshop where youth were learning how to convert a business idea into an actual project, a child health awareness session for women, and 3 classes for children with disabilities. The Queen also visited grant receiver Hussein al-Hindawi's thriving kiosk. Her Majesty attended a meeting with 50 community leaders representing the heads of societies, 23 of which are currently managing the funds and providing guidance to its beneficiaries. Her Majesty said she was happy to see their hard work and determination materialize into constructive projects, despite the difficult economic conditions Jordanians are reeling from. Japanese Emperor Akihito's decision to give up the throne and abdicate due to his failing health has sparked sympathy among many people and triggered a debate within the government. Currently, Japanese law does not allow an emperor to abdicate, but legislative changes are being planned to allow the octogenarian emperor to do so. Once Akihito steps down, a new imperial era will commence to replace the current one, which began on January 8, 1989, the day he ascended the throne. Here's more.
An unprecedented step in Japan for 2 centuries. Lawmakers on the cusp of announcing a special one-off law to allow the 83-year-old Emperor Akihito to give up the throne. Japanese law doesn't currently allow an emperor to step down, but a panel of experts has been looking into possible avenues after Akihito, who's had heart surgery and cancer treatment, hinted at retirement 6 months ago.
I've already passed the age of 80, and although I'm still healthy, the gradual weakening of my condition will make it difficult for me to fulfill my duties wholeheartedly.
The last time a Japanese emperor abdicated was in 1817, and today there are a number of questions that are not yet clear if it were to happen again. Issues like what the emperor's title would become, what his duties would be and where he would live. A name and date will also have to be fixed in Japan's unique calendar system, as the emperor's son, Crown Prince Naruhito, ushers in a new imperial era.
Rafael Nadal returned to the Grand Slam big time by fending off Gael Monfils 6-3, 6-3, 4-6, 6-4 in a tense clash to reach the Australian Open quarterfinals. Former champion Nadal had not reached the last 8 in a major since the 2015 French Open, so he celebrated wildly after closing out the 2-hour, 56-minute clash at the packed Rod Laver Arena. Nadal will meet third seed Milos Raonic for a place in the semi-finals. The Canadian Milos Raonic came safely through a potentially tricky match against Roberto Bautista 7-6, 3-6, 6-4, 6-1 to reach the Australian Open quarterfinals for the third straight year. Raonic rarely hit his usual heights in the 2-hour, 52-minute contest on Hisense Arena. The 26-year-old produced his best tennis when it mattered, though, coming back from 5-1 down in the tiebreaker to win the first set and finally got some breathing space by saving break points and breaking the world number 13 to win the third set. Serena Williams battled a misbehaving serve and scorching heat, but stayed cool under pressure in a 7-5, 6-4 win over Czech Barbora Strykova to reach the Australian Open quarterfinals. Second seed Williams was broken 3 times in the opening set at Rod Laver Arena and again when coasting to the finish line in the second, but shifted up a gear when it counted to close out the match in 1 hour and 46 minutes. The 35-year-old next faces British 9th seed Johanna Konta. And finally, the weather forecast. Chilly with frosty conditions are expected in the late hours of tonight in the hilly areas, Badia and eastern plains. Tomorrow, a rise in temperatures is expected, but it will remain relatively cold in the hilly areas and fair in the Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea, with southeasterly moderate winds. The Gulf of Aqaba should expect relatively warm conditions tomorrow with northerly moderate winds and calm seas. Next are the lows and highs for tonight and tomorrow. Before we conclude, here's a quick recap of our top stories. His Majesty the Supreme Commander honors the Royal Medical Services for its services to the country. Jordan and the European Union co-chair the second forum of the Union for the Mediterranean in Barcelona, Spain. And Syria's warring sides meet for peace in talks in Kazakhstan amid low expectations for a breakthrough. We've come to the end of the news. I'm Dana Abusham. Thanks for watching and have a good night.